Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and today we're going over all things OBE, NDE, and the practice that's necessary to shift yourself in every dimension at will. These mastered skills we train people in, have for over 30 years. Go through the episode and get all these hints and understandings, greater detail into the OBE experience, the astral plane experience, the Shen experience, the soul experience, and you will have a greater understanding of what happens with these techniques down to a sleep paralysis situation. And don't forget to stay to the end for a quick exercise in pulpating the energy and activating and synchronizing all dantians. Enjoy the video. The movement of Tao is to return. The way of Tao is to yield. Heaven, earth, and all things are born of the existent world. The existent world is born of the nothingness of the Tao. Welcome to the consciousness of the way, my divine, delectable co-host, High Priestess Jade.
Welcome.
But potentially, a.k.a. the superhero at night with your little cape.
Crime fighting.
You are crime fighting. Perhaps you might also be working as a stunt double for David Blaine or something. There's magic going on there. I'm not sure about that. Well, isn't this something? Another profound gift of the Tao.
Mm-hmm.
How exciting our new edition. I like that band from the 80s, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Good songs.
Yes, you look remarkable, by the way.
Thank you. As do you.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, here we have it. The cycle of all things. Concept, creation, dissolve, return. Concept, creation, dissolve, return. Just as powerful it is, the offering of our beautiful child into this world, the creation of the mother of all things, the Tao. Here we have it.
An amazing gift.
An amazing gift. And you are the Michael Jordan of amazing gifts. And so, we're back into the game. Is it a game? I'm not sure. Is it a simulation? Is it a hologram? All things above, all seems below, as is what's in, as what's out. All is one, one is all. And so, what's most important is gathering pure source information. And you can acquire it in many different ways. We teach it. Channeling, mediumship, psychic abilities, sensory perception. They're all really under that same category. And so, out of body is be all or end all. Seems to be very sexy. It has been for quite some time, but even more so now. Understanding the transition from sleep paralysis to something greater. I think the biggest misconception, and we had this on our podcast recently, I love all our guests, they're incredible, sharing their experiences, their understanding, their in-depth perception. There seems to be a misconception when it comes to, matter, Qi, Shen, Wuji, and then, of course, the Tao. So these are gradients, right? And we talk about energetic body. We specialize in internal alchemy as Taoists, training people in that very thing so that you can create the container, the internal alchemy, the architecture to transmute and move that energy any which way you want. And so that comes with the mastery of Niegong and the eloquent enhancing of Qigong, more contemporary in its definition and offering. But, all things ancient, the internal alchemy, the dissolving of all things, the development of the dantians, the collective, the separate, these are the real things that all, manifestors, people that want to create, that want to heal, these are the foundations of all things. Now, we created our app, A126. It's profound. It's a visual, audible experience creating a kinesthetic charge that validates it for you, putting you in that gamma brainwave state to make the magic possible. And now we have a deeper understanding. We've gone over this many times before. Let's just repeat it. The 0 point energy is the quantum, which is the black hole energy, which is the epicenter of all things from a Taoist perspective. It's the death of a star, the raising of the red phoenix within your energetic body, which materializes the black hole energy. Now, when you look at it at a much deeper level from the fact that all things electromagnetic have this torus field, and what actually takes place with the torus field, let's look at that and examine that as the intertwining of the scalar effect of the sound that alters the very essence of all things within this simulation, this quantum that we speak of, so that things are not cause and effect. They're pulsating. They're interconnected. And I think one of my last guests was a little surprised when I referenced that 0 point energy. It's conceptual to most people, but it's really the glue that keeps or makes the quantum possible, the entanglement as we know. So here we have two hot spots, hot pockets of information. The question of, have you ever experienced this? Laying in your bed. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, do you think people are consciously aware? Because everyone says, like, classic expression, like, oh, my bubble, my energy bubble, my space, you're too close to me. Do you think that they're feeling their torus field?
Yeah.
Or they're aware of it?
One of the first skills I developed, 30 years ago was this visual ability to see the torus field, to see the energetics, the auras, the energy, the information right in front of my very eyes emanating from all things, so that, you instantly acquire information on everything. And it is like a bubble. It's like if you've ever put on one of those fat suits or the sumo suits or, something where...
A hamster ball.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it... And as you refine your skills, you will be able to discern that. You'll be able to actually feel the subtleties of these things as you acquire the skills. And that comes from Niegong. Now, the sleep paralysis, as I was just talking about, is like, imagine this. You're laying in your bed. You go into a deep state even beyond delta, even beyond epsilon, which is super deep REM. That means that if you acquire this state, this wave, this brain wave state, you can literally get 1 hour of sleep that will be equivalent to most people's 20 hours. And that's really, really palpable. And it will be materialized by energizing your battery, because you are a battery. So I want people to understand this.
Do you think people who do this, like, crazy schedule where they get up at 3 a.m, they start their day, are they taking advantage of that, or are they burning the candle at both ends?
No, they're not. But more to understanding what happens when you get to that state. So you go so deep, all of a sudden, people talk about the subtleties of the matter, the chi, the Shen. The Shen is your soul, your spirit, right? And this is what people subjectively attempt to create with what we call an out-of-body experience. So when you are experiencing or have ever been caught in sleep paralysis, there are many different factors that generate the palpability of that whole experience. First and foremost, it seems like you are awake, but you are not. So you're in this state where you have been awakened within your Shen projection, your soul projection, your astro projection, as most people would commonly put it, or out of body. And this takes place the second you dip deep into the delta, which is when people go to sleep, and if you go deep into epsilon. Anything past that theta threshold, 4 hertz and below, 2 hertz being delta, you will materialize this state where the body goes to sleep, the spirit leaves the body. This is not a phenomenon. This is a peer-reviewed science factoid of how these things are emanated from the physical body. Now, there's all these different ways to skin a cat, but I'm speaking more on the entry level of sleep paralysis, where you assume you're awake, only you cannot speak, you cannot move. It's an absolutely frightening effect that most people have at some point experienced, or not consciously. And so there's this, vague memory that you have where you wake up and you're unable to do anything. You're not able to move. Now, the biggest misconception that a lot of people are having right now is that this is the only entry point to out-of-body experience. And so there are plenty of people, included especially masters of, soul projection, Shen projection, this layered dimensional shift, which is operating in your 5D while you're in a 3D. So what does that mean? It means that, and people are always like, he skipped the 4th D. What does that mean? Well, what's going on is it's kind of like redundant. It's sort of like the collapsing of time and space in of itself. And most people tend to don't realize the depth of that. So it's the collapsing of time and space into the 5th dimension. And so that's why most people go 3D to 5D. And it's like a shift of dimensional consciousness that makes it pliable, that you turn into someone that is physically anchored to this world, to someone that's spiritually awakened to the other worlds that we know of that are simultaneously operating as we are operating. And so the fallacy, the misconception, and any of the big dogs out there from, Monroe, Campbell, a bunch of these other people that have been literally pioneers in this type of space for 50 years. They, of course, have never been using the secret source of Taoist out-of-body expertise, but they've stumbled across their own. There is no right or wrong way. We have a mastery that goes back tens of thousands of years, and you discover it at your own will, whether it's through us or through someone else. You're going to find your way, your path, your way, the only way. Yeah, I said it. And so you have this misconception. So everything is multidimensional, operating all simultaneously. And most people that sort of run a rhetoric that you can clearly identify as someone that is less than experienced in understanding this or even experiencing it would say that you're incapable of operating in all dimensions at once. It's like yes, you can only draw your attention to one thing, your consciousness. Well, that's fallacy. That's what Niegong is about. Niegong is being able to project thoughts, feelings, and emotions encapsulated in a dimensional shift in every dimension at will, instantaneously. And so there's no amplitude or difference. And so you are able to operate in the 3rd dimension, 4th, 5th, 6th, 20th, 35th, 36, 45, 54. Common theme here. Maybe it's in 9s. Understand there is no end. I've experienced it and explored it extensively from my own personal experience, and there is no end to the dimensions outside of this one. And so
you're saying like you can still, most people when they think of out of body experience, their physical body and the 3D reality is kind of like offline.
Well,
While
yeah, this is the bill of
consciousness is
right. This is the bill of goods that's being sold right now, and it seems to be very popular.
right.
That you need to pretty much experience physical death to obtain this level of consciousness, right?
And that's not the case.
No, you will be. It's just like anything. I mean, there's levels of the energy is being moved to another dimension in all different dimensions. It's still operating this physical one because you're simulating it, but you will drop your heart rate and your pulse rate to a level that would be assumed that your physical body is not actually operating. Now, that would appear from face value from an individual that would be observing your physical body as you are projecting your Shen, your spirit, your soul. And then you become more refined in your mastery, your sensory perception, where you can have your eyes open, as do I, and what more commonly people would call out-of-body experience, astral plane traveling, with my eyes open, operating in this dimension. It's a mastery, like anything else. And it's validated through what you can achieve, manifestation, magic, healing, creativity. You're able to alter in the fifth dimension, affecting the third dimension. Now that is where a lot of people are pursuing this stuff, OBEs. We have the mastery. We have a program. It will be available on all platforms within the next couple of days. And you can also, if need be, acquire a one-on-one with myself to refine your skills. But basically what it does is you will master your OBE within 54 minutes, blammo. And that means that you will be realized. That mastery will have been obtained. A lot of people are saying, oh, it takes months. No.
Now, do you have to have had an OVE up to this point?
No. You will just experience things that will blow your mind.
So
anyone. From the mechanisms that we use within our training. And it will only get stronger and stronger. Every time you perform it, it'll get stronger and stronger and stronger. And the only limiter will be, can you hold on? Because the palpability of what takes place when you pop your spirit body out is undeniable. It's literally like popping out of a mold. And it's on like Donkey Kong. And so the sleep paralysis aspect is where someone gets caught in a transfer that's taking place all the time. As when you go to sleep, the anchor of your body is still here in this dimension, but your spirit is operating in other dimensions simultaneously. And so a sleep paralysis episode is where the cultivator, the subject, the person in the simulation, is activated this saturation of the energetic body that is reflectant of the spirit body, that then gives you the ability to lift off into another dimension. And what happens is they sort of like, it's as if you get caught, have you ever either done it or seen it in a Hollywood movie where you see the movie where the parents are watching TV and the teenager sneaks out at the front door without getting caught, or actually getting caught. The parents hear a squeak on the floor, and next minute it's like, Johnny, what are you doing? Oh, and you're just about to get out the door or out the side window or however you obtained it. Now, this is exactly what happens here. You are literally in the transition. You're hitting a delta or an epsilon brainwave. And so even though people would assume these two brainwaves are, you're so out of it, you're not aware. You can obtain these brainwaves through the mastery of your training, through your out-of-body training. And you can have your eyes open. You can be conscious in this 3D, being in a 5D all day, every day. That's how psychic capabilities are defined. That's how mediumship is defined. That's how channeling is defined. All sensory perception that we train is defined by that. And so it's a fallacy to say you need to experience death to realize you're all soul, baby. No. And so this is very well known to experts, people that really understand the mechanics and are well versed in it and masters at training, like myself or other people that I've mentioned previously in this podcast. They've been doing it for decades. I've been doing it for decades. This is how it works. And so if you are sold the idea that you need to die to be alive, that's a fallacy. And, the only thing that jumps you out is your initial, because you're just stepping over the threshold into the spirit world 100, and so your body is asleep and you're unable to vocalize it because you think you're awake. It's like, woo. So you think you're awake, but you're actually in the spirit world, stepping over that threshold. And it's like and so the emotional content that comes from you not being completely 100% conscious pulls your spirit body back into the physical body like a magnet. And so that's when you wake up and go, I couldn't breathe. I felt paralyzed. Something was trying to kill me, an entity. This is a very common response from a sleep paralysis experience. And this, from decades of experience, comes from respiration. And most people will say, well, I didn't do, I breathe through my nose. Says who? Are you recording yourself? I can promise you, your respiration is coming from the mouth. It's a deeper one, and it saturates this center, the middle dantian, almost instantaneously. And so the more you're in that, it could potentially even be misdiagnosed as sleep apnea. And what people are doing is they are literally priming themselves for the out-of-body experience. So as you know, from a Taoist perspective, Qigong means moving energy with your breath, understanding those mechanisms.
Would you say that most people, their out-of-body experience isn't, I should say, 100% consciousness? Most people kind of the very first time or something fall into it versus train into it, and then that curiosity and that kind of excitement and also fear a little bit pushes them to go, okay, I want to do that again, or I want to try that again, or how did that happen, or why did that happen, or I need an explanation.
There's something on the other side, as we always wake up to the other side.
Yeah.
Understand that access, which is what happens when I access information, doing psychic readings, information, past life readings, all this type of stuff, future, present, all that information is right there. And so the biggest fallacy is that you have to go to literally zero pulse, physical death, to acquire this. And this is where a lot of people are going in acquiring this skill. This sensory perception, dimensional shifts are being operated at one time. And that's where, a previous guest sort of, I don't want my audience to be misled by the information, but he was wasn't even alluding to, he said, you can only have your consciousness in one dimension. This is absolutely false. I need all my OGs, anyone who's listening to this channel, to realize that. And so it generally exposes more in the amount of experience someone has in this department. And that's okay. He's learning. And from what he's learning and how he's teaching it to people, this is his perception. Is it wrong? It is when you understand that you can acquire your consciousness without having to be asleep to do it. And so he alluded to a particular practice that he acquired that comes directly from one of the people I just talked about. I mean, the guy's an OG, a godfather in this stuff. And even that was sort of like a pitter-pattering around things that even to this day, it's kind of like the evolution or understanding everything is just a frequency, energy, and vibration. And so we all have our own way of finding our path, our purpose, our refinement. I've found it through the Tao, through the Three Pure Ones, through all the ancient techniques that I've been trained in as an ordained priest, and then expanding on that with direct source information from the creators instantly. Doesn't get any better than that. And that's what Jade and I absolutely are advocates of, is getting that. And that's what we train people in. Channeling, mediumship, out-of-body experience, Shen projection, soul projection, astral plane. These are just gradients and degrees of sensory perception. Understand that you can operate in all dimensions from 1 all the way through to 108. There are no limit. Trust me. When you get out there, there will be a simulation that will show you the difference. And so for a greater understanding, and this is something that I've confirmed through my own teachers, my own personal experience, but then it's another, another affirmed experience through other peers that have had very similar experiences. But again, that is for you to decide. Your experience will be your experience. But when you understand the torus field, which is really a cycle of energy, right? So we talk about it as the Taoist, the energy center, the truth teller. And that's where you are basically accessing this black hole energy. Now, when we talk about a torus field, you look closer, there's a separation between yin and yang energy, male and female energy, which is the polarizing effects of energy in of itself. Electromagnetism, right? And this is the stuff that the universe is made up of. You know, it can't be created or destroyed. Okay, so when you understand that, it's going on all the time. You just have to become sensory aware to it. And so everything has a torus field. And so the center of it, which is what we call the black hole energy, which is the event horizon, the lip of the black hole, which is really, phenomenal when you start to understand it. That center piece is the separation between yin and yang. So the torus field that's operating above, the torus field that's operating below, activating and accessing certain energy centers. Now, the center of it is the black hole the event horizon, the black hole energy. And so when you're experiencing an out-of-body experience, you step into this 3D reality. And so what's immediately simulated goes from light to wave to matter to particle. Wherever your eyes go, the energy flows. Mm-hmm. And that becomes materialized from a holographic simulation and understanding of that. That's when you create manifestation, healing, magic. This is what changes it. This attention, intention to whatever it is that you're doing. When that takes place, you have a situation. Houston, we have a problem. Mm-hmm. So this torus field, just imagine this. It's an enveloped donut, right? But this is what we talk about. The universe is you. You are the universe. I am the universe is me, all is one, one is all, right? So this torus field encapsulates all things, from the cowlick on the top of your head to a head of broccoli. You have this fractal pattern cycle that is evident in all creation, which is from a Taoist, the Tao, Buddha, Allah, Jesus, God, created this space before you, this evidential, tangible simulation that you have slowed down to such a slow speed that it is what you would consider a 3D pliable object, which is still a simulation, still light, wave, matter, particle, all realized into this. It's just at a different frequency. So this torus field is going on. And so when you use the techniques that we have been using for tens of thousands of years, you pop out of your physical body, you're now Shen, your spirit, your soul, your astral plane. You're now getting into these other realms. Now, people have talked about that you go into these other dimensions that are the spirits, whatever you want to call it. I'm really excited that people have defined it at a different level, but it's just sensory perception. And it's all conceptual till it's not. You know what you know, you don't know what you don't know. And I find a lot of people tend to just talk about it. They talk it, but they can't walk it. Mm-hmm. And this is the thing where there's a lot of, this rambling that goes on and on and on. And when you know, you know. But understand this. Once you get out there, from my personal experience and from validated from other peers that are masters in this field, and all the people I've trained, thousands of people I've trained over the years in this technique, you get out of this room, you get into the night sky, you hit the threshold, the atmospheric change from Earth to universe, the threshold. You're in space itself. And you will continue to go into space and heighten that consciousness. And then you find a silver lining that takes you into another portal, which is phosphorus white light. And it will seem to go for days. And then you'll hit another portal that'll be complete darkness. And then you'll hit another portal that'll be completely phosphorus white light. And so now you need to understand what's the relevance of the torus field. The torus field is that separator, that yin and yang energy. So what you're doing is you're passing through the black hole as you hit one portal after another. And when you hit that threshold, as you move from one portal to another, is when you can go in any infinite amount of directions created by you and your experience from past lives to where you are on your own journey. This is all relevant to you. But if you were to step back and you take a closer look, you're overseeing a torus field.
The light in the dark.
And so that's that donut that we're speaking of, the yang and yin energy. And so you're passing through that torus field. You're basically, you are a micro of a macro, of a micro of a macro, of a macro of a micro of a macro, and it continues to go on in that cycle. It's never ending. You'll come to that mic drop, Sifu. Mm-hmm. You'll come to that realization. And that separator between the two is the Wu Ji, the stillness. All things, the mother of all things, Tao. Oh, yeah. And so it's just a continual. So now you start to interact. So you can start framing out what it is that you're being exposed to. Now the variables come in. What are the variables? If this is the case, Sifu, this is crazy. What does this mean? It means the variables will be determined by your past life experiences. Who you are, where you are, right here, right now. Knowing what you're an incarnation of, reincarnation of, where you're at. That's why the validation of this information is so critical. But understand this. The universe, the Tao, the mother of all things, has no moral compass. So you can press past, present, and future. If you notice, everything's in a 3. Yin, yang, stillness. That's the Wu Ji, the black hole energy, the infinite. Oh yeah, baby. And so each sort of like a mic drop, revelation when you start to understand it. But let's move back to the sleep paralysis in that sense. So, you get to, it's almost like you got triggered. They turned the lights on when you're, trying to sneak out of the house. Boom, you got caught. And the emotional content, because you're still kind of unclear that this was happening to you, pulls the magnetism of your spirit back into your physical body. But you are already training in it through the respiration, making your energetic body so dense that it is a reflection of your spirit body, and then it pops you out. So you can do it unintentionally through your own physicality, which is, there is no coincidence or unintentional anything. Your guides, your teachers, whoever it is putting you in a state that you are at that precipice for the next realization of your consciousness in this realm. And so that's where you go. And so it's just the beginning. Learning how to refine that technique, and then moving past the emotion, which is what we teach people, to master your emotions. Your emotions don't control you, you control your emotions. This out-of-body stuff, added with, the infinite Wu-Ji body, which is another technique that we use that is polarizing in relation to anything that you would consider like a Kundalini, whatever. Your energetic body is on, and it's fully functioning. The universe is inside you, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. So, getting that Wu-Ji body activated, getting your OBE and your spirit projection, your soul projection, your astral projection down pat. And like I said, the program we have is your mastery of your OBE within 54 minutes. That I've been doing this a long time. I'm long in the tooth when it comes to this. And so, you've been searching, someone's been soul searching, and it feels so good. I don't think that's a song, but you will come to understand how fast, if you've been tinkering in this stuff, lucid dreaming, affirmations, mantras, all that kind of stuff, and you sort of, tinkering around, it's time to get you to the next level. And that's exactly what this does, minus you having to die. Mm-hmm. Which is also interesting, but I also find that people use that as a selling point for a lot of their methodology when it comes to OBEs or NDEs, which, I've had many of both, and I also have the experience to teach you how to do it at will. Not the NDE, that's all that is a signal from your ability to access consciousness. It's an awareness to level up. That's all part of your past lives that bring you to this point, this awareness that you want to be like, it's time.
Yeah.
Get in the game.
I kind of think about it like swimming. Most people don't learn how to swim by just falling in water and then figure it out. It's like, oh, I just fell at that is a parallel to the sleep paralysis. It's like, oh, I just fell into a deep lake and I don't know how to swim and I better figure it out, because if I don't, then, I don't really have a choice. Whereas most people, when they learn how to swim, they take swimming lessons, they go to a pool, they start, they have a baseline, they kind of start off that way.
I would, yeah.
And then they turn it into a mastery.
I would, but I also definitely have a deep heart connection for all those people that have been misinformed and have spent a lot of their life with questions of sleep paralysis, because no one should have to suffer that, because it can be very traumatic, because what it does is it builds on your emotional content. Mm-hmm. So if you have it once and you have nothing explained, or you're not actually cultivating to an answer or an ability, on face value it just seems like potentially some entity is trying to kill me in my sleep. And because of the way that you are realized, and you awake between these dimensions, it seems like you have no control and you're physically dying. I would not want anyone to experience that ever.
Mm-mm.
So when you start with that, and then you're not given answers, which happens quite often, and that's fine. It's just where you are. And clearly, if you're that person and you're listening to this podcast, then you are meant to be here right now, because who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, we have the answers.
We have the answers. We have the techniques and the skills to get you where you need to be. So you can either...
You don't have to go through that ever
again. No,
again.
you don't ever have to go through that again. You can either master it so you become highly conscious, or you can put an end to it so you never have to experience it again. And that is a personal preference. I do not subscribe to going, well, you're doing it, you should go forward, you need to... It's your choice. But I will tell you, I will give you the techniques and the skills. If you choose to go, I don't want to experience this anymore, I refuse to go further, I'm not interested in it, messaging is telling me so, and you always use your truth teller, we always talk to you about that, then I would say, let's put it to bed, and you never have to experience that type of simulation ever again. And I will show you a mastery of that also. So that's kind of like really critical and so important, and something that was something that we needed to clarify. And as we're getting deeper into this, and more people are using the Way 126, they start looking for greater, deeper levels of mastery. And so you do the 126, you do the Wuji body, you do this OBE training, which we call Shem projection, soul projection, Shem projection. You are going to be a badass. And then we have our Taoist rites, because these are all fundamentals of the Taoist rites healing system. That is another element that you can be using, the architecture of healing. So, they can be used individually, they can be used collectively. But if you want to level up your badass, and most of the people that I work with are either functional medicine doctors, chiropractors, doctors, medical doctors, Chinese medicine doctors, acupuncturists, massage therapists, herbologists, they always come back to the badass. What's most powerful more than anything is the energetics. Yeah, baby.
Do you think that's why most people are like very attracted to plant medicine, with the intention that they want to have an OBE?
Well, of course they do. And I don't. There is no right or wrong way. It's only valuable. I've always spoken about this on the podcast. We talk about this before. There is no right or wrong. If it's a tool for you until it's not a tool. Whatever it is, what someone would perceive as a vice is perceptual, and only that. So I include, LSD, alcohol, pot, ayahuasca. Any of these things are tools until they're not tools. So you need to understand that. Looking at the energetics and the entities around meth, probably not. I wouldn't suggest that as being something if you're getting messaging saying you need to use meth as a tool to enlighten your consciousness, that could potentially, we need to have a closer look at that and exercise whatever entities are overriding your perception. But as for the rest of those things, the plant medicine especially, you need it until you don't need it, or, you may be at a place that this is necessary to open your consciousness. But I will tell you this, you hang around us and you're going to realize that you can amplify whatever experience you've had on plant medicine 1,000 times better, 1,000 times more profound, with nothing, because you have it inside you. And this is just a mastery. So...
just another reiteration that you aren't limited by anything.
Nothing. Not a thing. Not a single thing. And so always remember, you are not, right? So, if you've come from a 12-step program, you're being trained in your mind to believe you are the problem. No. And this is a part of you. No, it's a tool to raise your consciousness, to open your awareness to something greater. That's it, beginning and end. That's how it works. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies. And so did that answer your question about it?
Yeah, I think it is kind of a, it's becoming a very mainstream kind of thing. And I never really asked, like, well, why do you want to do it? But I assume the majority is this out of body experience. I want to get messages. I want to travel different dimensions. I want to, see these other things and open my consciousness. And, this might be the only way that I think it's possible.
Oh, I mean,
And it becomes marketed in this kind of sexy thing
well,
to have an out of body experience.
well, you get you get
Using,
yeah, sure,
using,
you get into that,
right.
and it's almost like someone in the locker room at the gym who's super yoked, and they're like, "Hey, how'd you get like that? I want to be big like you." Oh, you just need to take some performance-enhancing drugs. And so, it's appealing, but understand this, depending upon where you're at, your consciousness is bringing you there. You're using it to level up your consciousness, and you will get to a certain point. Like I said, I've come across, masters in their state of consciousness that are 100 years old, smoking a bag of, an ounce of weed every day, and they're highly evolved. But that's a different consciousness. That's all it is. I have yet to realize that is something that's necessary. I can do it through my own training.
And
But I've
teach
seen it.
people.
I've seen it. I've witnessed it. I've been in the presence of people that use that stuff, and they enhance their experience to a whole nother level. So there is no right or wrong. Always remember that. Know that to be the gateway to all things.
Right. And there is many different ways, just as people who want to use it and level up. And then people who maybe can't use it find their own natural techniques and tricks and, listen to us and follow our training system, have their own level up that's individual to them.
Yeah, 100%. The proof is in the pudding. We bring it. We show you. I talk about it. Just talking about it, people are like, oh, you're just talking about it. Well, this is the understanding on a much deeper level. I'm seeing a lot more evidence of people becoming aware of some of these ancient techniques that
Right.
are not developed enough articulately, but they have a fundamental understanding. So, these are ancient techniques I'm trained in from many lifetimes before this, tens of thousands of years, yet it comes across in my transmission, right? So I can talk about it, and what most people have an experience of when they're talking to me, what it's unassuming because it's really Latsu that's transmitting this frequency, right? So I'm not doing anything, but they're like, man, I'm just talking to you and I'm feeling the energy all over. It's all happening. I'm listening to you. Damn straight it is. And that's just part of the mastery. But you show people. You need to show people. That validates their humanness to create an experience that would be considered in their mind as, superhuman. And so when you're able to show them something like that, it's another validation, it's another notch of their consciousness. It takes them to a whole nother level. And that's what we want to do. That's all we do all day long. That's the Way 126, baby. Consciousness of the Way. What podcast? The Way 126 consciousness channel. This is what we do here. And so it is leveling up to a whole nother level. And you will be realized and really grateful when you get there. Everyone should experience it. Everyone should have access to it. I fundamentally are committed to anyone that comes across my path as a realization that they are meant to level up in their consciousness. That's where it's at. And it will be realized instantaneously, which is the powerful part about what we do. And, we're all things internal alchemy, all things out of body, all things soul projection, all things channeling. this is what we do on this channel. This is what I'm an expert in and have been for 30 years. This is what I bring to the table. This is what we share with the world. And that raises your consciousness. So that's what's up. And whoever's listening to this podcast today will have another refresher, a realization of all these powerful things. And that, you have access. You can go to our channel, go to specific products, whether it's the Way 126 or individual products like the Wuji Body or the OBE Taoist Shen projection, Taoist right Shen projection, which would be equivalent to your astral plane. And that stuff will rock you. We will rock you. So, I think we went over a lot today.
Yeah.
And our beautiful baby, just so calm and fluid. I guarantee I'll get a lot of people going, what the hell? How is that possible? It's all frequency, baby. What do you think? Jade is the high priestess. She's a master, at what she does. All things energy, frequency, vibration. And the only reason our beautiful baby is expressing themselves this way on this podcast for a whole hour, which any person with a newborn would be like, that's impossible. It's not going to happen. Is because she is the baby whisperer. And it all comes down to a synchronization that she's, through her mastery, her skills that she teaches people. And that's something that, I've been urging her to release ancient Taoist practices of mother-bearing, motherhood, creation of life. And she's considering it. And, more to come in the future. And I really hope that she does want to release it. We have a lot of the ancient Taoist practices that we use. But, she is the Jedi Master. And so this all comes with a mastering and understanding of how to synchronize all those energies. Mm-hmm. And we bring it. We show you. She just showed you for an hour. I mean, it doesn't get any more real than that. It's like, people are like, that is crazy, man. I can't get my kid to sit still for 3 seconds, let alone a newborn.
Yes. Soon. Coming soon.
I'm going to support her and really urge her to want to release that, because there are millions of women that would absolutely embrace the mastery of the Taoist practices that she uses within that. And, it really makes your experience effortless, like literally, like effortless, without the assistance of a bunch of, people manipulating your experience. You have it all within you, and you connect with your baby, and you and the baby have the experience that will be mind-blowing to you, that you wouldn't even fathom that was possible, and you create it with understanding the techniques and how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes back to just everything that we talked about today. Anything that you have access to in this human being experience should be effortless. It is if you have the ability to have a baby, if you have the ability to have an out-of-body experience, if you have the ability to channel or to get messages or get signs, it should feel so natural, because that is your default. That is a humanist default, is to connect, is to be one with the universe, is to be one with the quantum. And so it shouldn't feel laborious or effort or anything like that. It should be as natural as breathing, as your blood pumping, as your heart pounding. These are all gifts from the Tao that we, almost take for granted every single day. And so when you just realize, hey, I can do this. This is a part of me. I'm supposed to do this. That's how it transmits.
Amen to that. And so on that note, we'll just do a sync, little exercise of realization for all those OGs. I'm just talking and it starts to ripple, and my goodness, I'm feeling it in my hands. I'm feeling it in my face. Damn straight.
In my chest.
That's where they call me the Sifu. And so, with that note, any OGs or anyone that is new to the channel, you take a moment. You can be in all senses or shut off one sense. More commonly, people shut off their seeing, drop deeper into it. You come synced with my voice. And the 3 breaths are quite simple. Breath in through the nose, breath out through the mouth. Breath in through the nose, breath out through the mouth. Breath in through the nose, breath out through the mouth. The last one, you then through the exhale, you hold it. I count to 9, then you release. Now, each one will synchronize your upper, middle, and lower dantian, giving you this warm and fuzzy sensation. I'll also synchronize a little bit of a sampler of sort of like the beginnings of what we call the OBE that anyone who wants to sign up for. So you get a little sample of that if you're doing this exercise today. And that's just my gift from me to you. So you get a little bit of a little revving of the engine. So without any further ado, I'm going to thank my delectable and humble and delightful co-host, High Priestess Jade. And if you have any closing thoughts, feelings, or emotions that you want to share with the audience.
Yeah, I think we went over a lot, and I think the most important thing is that everyone's experience is their experience. Like we say again, there is no right or wrong. There's many ways to climb up the mountain. We're offering our expertise and our system to help you achieve whatever you're looking to achieve when it comes to that, in the most profound way that we know how. Thousands of ancient techniques that have been, going on for thousands of years, with our experience. And again, it's all about your experience. That's the most important thing.
Booyah. So without any further ado, close a sense or keep it open. Let's go for the magical mystery ride, as you have already synchronized with my very voice. And now let's breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. Breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. Last one, breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. Hold it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. There you go. That rumbling, that very, very like washing machine feeling you were starting to experience as it was accumulating. That's the power of what we talk about. That's a little sampler of what would be the vibrational shift. Nothing even remotely close to the vibrational shift that would happen in OBE, but it's a sample. And anyone who's had it before or wants to experience it will be more than realized when they experience this. So anyone from the distance or present now listening to my voice, stay where you are. Immerse yourself in this experience and allow it to realize however it will. And I'm your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Quinn, and I'll see you on the next one, guys.